A long time ago in the Valley of Gale, the Lord God created a special rock and placed it high upon the mountaintops. Every morning when the sun rose, the rock was able to see the entire valley over the mountaintops. When evening came, he was able to see the beauty of the coming night sky as the sun set in the west. This rock that the Lord God created was very strong and large. Whenever a storm came, the rock was able to stand against its fierce winds and heavy rain. Whenever winter came, the rock was able to weather the harsh conditions of freezing rain, snow, and chilling temperatures. The rock was very proud that the Lord God had created him because there was no other rock like him. However, the rock often found himself looking at the other rocks around him and saw that each of them had a purpose. Some were used for fires, others for houses, but this rock, so he thought, had no purpose. One day, a violent storm came across the valley. A bolt of lightning came down from heaven and struck the rock, causing it to fall down the mountain. As the rock fell down the mountain, he was broken into many pieces. Days later, after the storm had cleared, the rock finally began to regain consciousness from his fall. The rock took a look around and noticed that he was no longer positioned at the top of the mountain. He also noticed that he was no longer the same size as he was before the storm. The rock was very sad and upset, so he prayed to the Lord God about this incident and what he should do. Months passed by, and the rock, so he thought, never received an answer to his prayers. The rock continued to pray, asking for guidance and understanding. One day, a man happened to be walking by the roadside and noticed the rock. The rock seemed pleased that the man had noticed him and tried to make himself presentable to the man. The man saw that the rock could be of use to him, so he took the rock with him as he continued on his journey. The rock was very pleased because he felt that the Lord God had finally answered his prayers, and he was about to walk in the destiny that he was created for. When the man reached his final destination, he took the rock out and placed him on the ground. The rock was very excited and could hardly wait to see what was to come next. The man came back with a hammer in his hand and started hitting the rock, breaking him into small pieces. After the man had finished, he took the small pieces that had broken off and placed them in a circle to make a fire inside of it. The rock was sad once again and prayed to the Lord God all night about this situation. When morning came, the man picked the pieces of rock up and started tossing them in the river. This made the rock very angry, but there was nothing he could do. As the years passed by, the water from the river began to wear the rock down until he was the size of a baby's hand. The rock began to look back at his life and wonder where he went wrong to cause all this to happen. One day, a young boy came running by and picked up the rock and several other stones from the river and placed them all in his bag. The rock thought to himself that he had nothing else to give. He was too small to be broken up to protect the forest from a fire. His edges were too smooth to be used as any type of tool. He also noticed that his appearance was different from any of the other stones in the boy's bag, so he could not be used for decoration. Suddenly, the boy stopped running. The rock heard the boy shouting very loudly to someone and heard someone shouting back to the boy in the same tone. All of a sudden, the shouting stopped, and the boy reached into his bag and grabbed the rock. As the rock was being pulled out of the bag, he was anxious to see what the shouting was all about. When the boy pulled the rock completely out of the bag, he saw standing before the boy a huge man by the name of Goliath. The boy placed the rock in his sling and flung the rock at Goliath. The rock flew through the air and hit Goliath in the forehead and struck him down. All of a sudden, a voice came down from heaven and said to the rock, "Well done, my good and faithful servant. From the day you were created, I predestined you for this task. Now, come with me and share in your master's treasure." God the Father has a purpose for us all.